So we're going to take a look at the results, strictly from the Missouri results. The National Green Party, I sent them, every state is sending their results in and they're compiling them, but they have not yet posted anything. And I have not gone state by state to look up, what the results were. I was kind of wanting to look at New York because that's Howie's home state, but I didn't get a chance to do that. I also don't have numbers from each of the precincts and that kind of thing. And that'd be interesting, as Nathan mentioned earlier, interesting to do and see like where we did best. I mean, obviously Kansas City did a lot better than, Belton or something, but it'd be nice to have the numbers at our fingertips. Okay. So first of all, I want to thank Melisha. She posted this to our Facebook page, and I think it's just beautifully written. And if you're like me, then you got everybody's face blocking the message here, but you can move that. But basically, it's a thank you to everybody and pointing out the hard work that we've done and the progress we've made. So even though we didn't necessarily win an election, we are winners because we're advancing the Green Party. We're making people aware of us, and it's only going to, be positive from here. So I'll give you a few seconds to read it if you haven't read it yet, but I think it's just a beautifully written, and thank you, Melisha. I can't take credit for this. Okay, so off of my first one to look at is the office of president and vice president. You can see that Howie and Angela earned 8,200 votes, which is 0.273%. The write-ins, at least the way they're reported right now at the state level, we know the total number of write-ins. We don't know how they're allocated amongst the candidates. And to be recognized, you have to actually register as a write-in candidate. So if somebody wrote in Homer Simpson or Eric Cartman or something, they would still show up in the total write-ins, but they would not be considered valid results. But one thing I noticed here is that Howie and Angela at 8,200 votes is significantly lower than the rest of our statewide candidates. And in my opinion, that means people wanted to vote progressive, but they were afraid to not vote for Biden. They bought into the whole, we got to get Trump out and Biden is the lesser of two evils. That's really the only way I can explain these numbers, because take a note, 8,200. When we move on to the next office of governor, you'll see that Jerome more than doubled the numbers that Howie got. So he had 17,000. Lieutenant Governor and Kelly was our best performing statewide candidate with 28,000 votes. And that's 9.5%. So good job, Kelly. Very proud of you, because that's pretty impressive. Our Secretary of State, Paul, 24,000. And Treasurer Joe Sabatini, 19,000. And again, these numbers are so much higher than what Howie earned. And I don't believe it's because, no one ever heard of Howie, because no one ever heard of Joe Sabatini either. So for Joe to earn more than double, I really do think there was that, fear of Trump, have to vote, lesser of two evils at play here. So let's move on to local offices. And again, District 5, when I looked at this, I got it at the state level, and they did not have the numbers per write-in candidate. But I think, Antoine, you said earlier you had 162 or something in that ballpark. And for a write-in,
yeah, that's right. Yeah. I pulled it up from the Jackson County Kansas City Election Board.
Well, part of the district is Jackson County outside of Kansas City. You have to look at that separately and add them together. Like parts of Lee Summit is in your district, but we're not Kansas City Election Board. We're Jackson County.
Yeah, I haven't checked that number yet.
Yeah, so your numbers could be even higher. Okay, State Senate District 7, Nathan got 15,000 votes. at 17, almost 18%, and you're our highest, from a percentage point of view, our highest vote earner. And that's awesome. And that's, congratulations to Nathan. Daniel earned, and I got to move my thing here, 300 votes for State House District 37. Next one, Vicky, she ran for State House in Springfield. She got 681 votes, and I have to say I'm surprised at this one because she's been actively campaigning for a year and a half. She went literally to every single house in her district, did a literature drop. She had billboards, she did mailings, she did interviews and all of that. And I really expected her to do a little bit better because I know she worked extremely hard. And then finally, Betsy Mitchell ran for St. Louis County Executive, and she got 3%, over 16,000 votes. And the one thing you can learn from this is that Gregory Powers has no friends. Okay, so what are our takeaways from this? Well, one of them, we retain ballot access. By state law, we have to earn 2% or more to retain ballot access. So we're still ballot recognized in State Senate 7, State House 135, and St. Louis County. To regain our ballot access at a statewide level, we have to petition. We had to do that 4 years ago or 8 years ago, whenever we last did it. We're going to have to do it again. You need 10,000 valid signatures of registered voters. And the conventional wisdom is you get double what you need because some will get thrown out. They're not valid. The person moved or something. So you really do need to get above and beyond this 10,000. The other option is to petition for a specific district, and you need 2% of the total votes that were earned in the most recent election for that district. And that might be a strategy to use for something like State House, but if you crunch the numbers, something like Antoine's district, 2% is like 17,000 signatures. So the 10% obviously would be a easier goal to achieve. So what do we do?
So can I just interject?
Sure.
Because 2 years ago, I got 36,000 votes in Jackson County and 27%. We still have 2 more years of ballot access in Jackson County, Missouri.
Oh, wonderful. I forgot about that. Yes, thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, it's a 4-year cycle. So you recognize for 4 years once you get that 2%. And then 4 years later, if you don't get the 2%, you got to start over. So what's our next steps? And this is strictly my opinion. We haven't done anything official yet. But in my opinion, the state coordinating committee, along with a state elections committee coordinator or a state elections committee, should be responsible for organizing the petitions drive, which means during our summer convention, we'd be electing an elections committee coordinator. This coordinator person would be working with the local chapters and our at-large members to organize the petitioning, keep track of how many numbers we've got and that sort of thing. And if that sounds like fun to you, we have our chapter officer elections next month. And if you want to be the Kansas City Elections Committee coordinator, please nominate yourself. We also need to figure out when we want to do this. I tried to find online when we are officially no longer qualified. I didn't see anything. I'll contact the Secretary of State. My guess is it's going to be when the election results get certified. So probably within the next week or so. And then for a strategy point of view, do we aim for 2024, which is the next presidential election, or 2022 when we have other big offices coming up, U.S. House, U.S. Senate, because I'm pretty sure Roy Blunt is up for election, state auditor, and some other offices like that. And that is all I have for tonight. As I said, I didn't get a chance to dive into, what precincts perform better and so on. And if that's the type of thing you're interested in, Our next elections committee meeting is the third Wednesday, whatever day of the week, day of the month that happens to be. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure. Around the 18th-ish.